everyone, my name is Brenda, and this is going to be my very first whole class video that I'm going to be posting on my website and onto YouTube. This is Gus. He's insane. He's a little bit over 2 years old. My husband and I rescued him from the streets, and he's just a silly little boy, and we love him very much. You might see another couple of cats wander through, but today we're going to be doing a Yin style yoga class. And so if you've got them, please bring a couple of blocks into practice today. And if you have a strap, that's great. If you have two, even better. A belt will also work just fine. And today we're going to use a blanket as well. So if you can grab a blanket or a pillow, that would also be really beneficial for you for today's practice as well. So let's just go ahead and get started. We'll start in a nice comfortable seated position. If your knees come well above your hip bones, something like so, you may find it more comfortable to take a block and sit on it for the practice. For the beginning of the practice, because it'll create neutrality in the spine and bring the knees down at a little bit more of a comfortable level. So, wonderful. Let's just take and sit in a nice comfortable position, either cross-legged or kneeling. Allow yourself to become fully present in this space. Close your eyes. Take some long inhales and exhales through the nose. On the inhale, send that breath down into the belly, fully expanding the belly. On the exhale, bring the belly button to spine. Allow your face to soften and let the tongue move away from the roof of the mouth as your jaw slackens slightly, allowing you to find a little bit of space between the teeth. Let the shoulders relax. Imagine as if there's a tiny little string attached to the top of your head, which very gently pulls you towards the ceiling, allowing you to have a nice upright posture without a whole lot of effort. Follow that awareness down the body, into the buttocks and the legs and the feet. Allow yourself to feel every point at which you are connected to the mat. The next hour of practice is completely yours. I'm simply here to guide it. If at any point something doesn't feel right, please come out of the posture or back out of the posture slightly until you find that point at which you can fully surrender. Yin is very much a practice that is not only for the body but for the mind. Because we hold those postures for 3 to 7 minutes, it can sometimes be a bit difficult to sit with yourself and with your thoughts. But if it helps you, maybe grab a hold of a little notebook and bring it along beside you. So that way, if there's any really nagging thought that continuously pops up and won't let you have peace, take and jot that down and say to yourself, okay, I recognize that this is something that my mind wants me to make notice of. I've made notice. I will pay it more attention when I have the time. And see if you can put it aside and let it go for today's practice. We'll open practice with an Om. If you'd like to join me, hands will come to Heart Center and Anjali Mudra or Prayer Mudra. We'll take a full inhale, allowing that belly to expand. Exhale deeply, belly button to spine. Inhale, fully preparing to chant. Gently bow your head to your hands, and then blink open your eyes. Wonderful. So, we are going to start today's practice with something nice and simple, a child's pose. So child's pose actually can be done a few different ways. It all depends on what you're looking for in the child's pose. So for example, we can do child's pose with wide knees, and we can place something between our legs and in front of our body so that our body doesn't fully get to the floor. And that's totally okay if that's something that you want today in today's practice. So you can take your blocks or your mat and place it between the legs. Between the legs means that we're going to be opening our hips as we surrender into this posture. If we wanted a little bit more of, say, shoulder release, we would bring our knees together and have our arms around our back. But today we're going to come into child's pose, get really close to your blankets and your blocks, and then walk the body forward until you allow the body to rest completely on the blocks. We want our thumb heading towards our heels, and we want to really relax into this posture today. Child's pose is actually not a passive posture. It is considered a working posture. But in today's Yin practice, at the beginning of our practice, we're simply going to surrender. Check in with yourself and see if you're holding tension anywhere, maybe in the jaw. And try and allow that to relax. If you have your face turned one way, just take and turn it the other way to allow the neck to have a stretch in the other direction. Gently turn your head back to neutral. Walk the hands up. And we're going to remove the props from underneath of us so we can come down a little bit more. So again, walk those hands out. Allow the chest to come to the floor. We didn't hold that first child's pose for a very long time on purpose. We're trying to let ourselves come into this pose. Maybe your knees can go a little wider. Maybe you feel them wanting to go that way. In Yin, it's important to find the edge of your stretch. So find where you're starting to feel some discomfort. And then you rest there. And we allow the body, with the use of time and gravity, to gently sink into that pose a little bit more. You have the head turned in one direction, take and turn it to the other side. Gently and slowly. And let the side of the head come to rest on the mat. Turn the head back to neutral and gently pull the chest off the mat. Use the strength of your arms to pull yourself back up. Come now to sit in Baddha Konasana. I think there's going to be a few little weird things that I do, so I'm sorry, because weird as in video editing, because I'm not very tech savvy, but I'm learning, so please be patient, be kind. So we're going to come into Baddha Konasana, which means that our feet come together. The bottoms of our feet come together in front of our groin. The closer you bring the heels of your feet to your perineum, or your perineum to your heels, the more intense of a stretch you're going to have here. And it's really up to you. Now this is where maybe your straps come in handy. If you want, you can wrap a strap around your leg, and you can, I've got attention here from somebody behind me. We can wrap it around so we can find a little tightness around the legs. And that will keep them in place without us having to worry about them. So if you have a strap or two, you can do this. A rope, a belt, like a proper belt. These are honestly just fancy, what are they, canvas? Are these canvas, cotton? I don't know. They're just like fancy straps for yoga. See lots of like military sort of style, you know, that sort of belt. Anywho, so that's the sort of belt that we're working with here. Very simple. If you're expecting company, perhaps don't put yourself into a bind like this. It's fairly simple to get out of, actually. You can kind of pull off, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into it. So grab hold of your blocks. with these straps, we're going to come into a forward fold. So I'm going to show you one way, straight on, and then I'm going to turn the other way so that you can see me the other way. So if you want, you can bring these blocks and they can work to hold your head. So first what we're going to do is we're going to just take, I like to grab a hold of my big toes with my peace fingers. We're going to take an inhale. Find length in the spine. And then when you're ready, you want to hinge at the hips. So I'm keeping my chest way up, nice and tall. We want to keep the chest up tall. So we only can tuck our chin when we feel like we've reached our limit. I don't encourage rounding in the shoulders. In fact, we want the exact opposite. Let's take those shoulders back and down. I'd rather see a little bit of exaggeration in the neck being open than having ourselves rounded into our shoulders. So again, we're here. I'll turn to the side so you can see me this way. So we're here. I've got a hold of my big toes with my peace fingers. I'm going to inhale, find length in the spine. And then I hinge at the hips and I come forward. See how my back is nice and straight? That's what we're looking for. So grab a hold of your blocks and maybe you bring them in front of your head in any sort of way that feels good for you and rest your head maybe on the block. And see, find that edge, whatever that is for you today. And just see if you can relax into the pose. If you feel like you need to back out of it, back out of it. Check that you're not clenching your jaw. A lot of hip work today. It seems to be going in the direction up. So, hips, we hold a lot of our emotions there. So if you feel emotional, if you feel like there's a release, don't hold back. Allow yourself to cry if you need to. Deep sigh if you need to. If nobody's around, you could even scream. Sometimes that's the release that we need. If anybody is around, maybe just also holler afterwards, I'm okay. As time goes on, you might feel like you can turn the block to a slightly lower position, and that's okay. Just try to remember to keep those shoulders back. Try not to round into the shoulders. If it feels good for you, you can use the strength of your arms to push the legs a little bit more open. But just be careful because we are here for a while. moving slower than slow, we will bring ourselves up out of the posture. Find length in the spine once more. Inhale. And exhale. Release. Go ahead and remove those straps from your legs. And place them to the side. The next posture that we're going to come into is pigeon. So, for pigeon, we might want to have a block handy or our blanket handy. So just perhaps bring them close by you. We're going to, for pigeon, come onto all fours. And then you're going to bring the right knee up to the right wrist. Turn that leg in, and I like to just push this leg backwards. I'm going to come forward a little so I stay on my mat. So, what happens here is this front leg dictates where you're going to have, how intense the pose is going to be for you. So, the more perpendicular, this is better, you can see me better. If this leg is more perpendicular to the front of the mat, so it's straight, the shin is straight with the front of the mat, that is going to be more intense than if your foot is closer to your groin. So again, the choice is yours. I just would caution you to not go too far. Like I said, in Yin, we want to find that edge and then be within it. So whatever that looks like for you. So we're going to first take an inhale, find length in the spine, always, always. Exhale, walk those hands forward. And you can rest on your forearms, put your head on a block perhaps, or if you're capable today, maybe you can lower down onto folded arms in front of you. The reason why I suggested getting a mat, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this a bunch. I'm going to have to change the settings on my computer. It just wants to go black screen on me. Okay, so the reason why I suggested you bring a block is, or a blanket, is if your hips are way up where you can fit a block in between, you should really put a block, or maybe a blanket is all that you need, to just bring the floor to you. That way we're able to keep our hips a lot more square, and then we get the stretch that we're looking for. So wherever you are today, invite that stillness and invite that space inside of that hip in every breath. And relax. Again, check that you're not clenching your jaw. And if you feel like you can relax a little deeper, feel free to move props out of the way as you relax more into the pose. very gently and slowly push yourself back up again. Find that length in the spine. Remove any props from under your hip. And very gently, very slowly, come back to that tabletop position. If it feels good, maybe you push the hips back in a child's pose. Take a little stretch and a wiggle, gently and slowly, moving as if we're going through molasses. Very good. Now we'll take and do the same thing, second side. So our left knee is going to come to our left wrist. We're going to pull that right leg back, finding whatever legs look good for us on this side. It's very likely that one side is different than the other, maybe quite different than the other. And I encourage you to acknowledge that difference without judgment. So just note, and then when you're practicing on your own, pause this video and do whatever side is the tighter side first, come back to the other side, and then do that tighter side a second time. Try to even it out a little. If we're imbalanced and we constantly doing things balanced, we'll never become balanced. So, again, find whatever props are good for you. Inhale. Exhale. Walk those hands forward. And find the limit for yourself today. couple more minutes here. Check that you aren't clenching your jaw. Very gently push yourself back up. Find length in the spine. Moving like you're going through molasses. Come on out. It's very important in Yin that we really take our time getting into and coming out of postures. We want to really be protective of our joints and our ligaments and our fascia. Those things don't move very easily or well without the help of our muscles. And when especially fascia and ligaments get stretched and into a position, they need that time, that recoil time to come back for us to move safely. Perfect. So we're going to do one more fairly intense hip stretch. It is called lizard. Ooh, my hip just popped there. Sorry for going out of frame. I got a little foot here. Can you see it? He's so cute. Okay. So we're going to come into what's called lizard. So again, we're here in a tabletop position, and you're going to bring your leg out in front of you. So we're going to do the right leg. Get my positioning proper. So okay, right leg first. So in tabletop, we're going to bring this leg, thump. We're going to bring this leg to the outside of the right foot. And then you're going to push your hips forward and see if you can come down maybe onto blocks. Maybe you'll bring your blocks here and your forearms come down onto the blocks. If you need padding for your knee for this one, your blanket could come in handy, or you can double up the mat and have it underneath. I've just got linoleum floors underneath my mat here, so I'm going to take and put that there. And you can come down onto your forearms, whatever way that looks like. And let's just gently allow ourselves to come into this pose. If you like, you can come to the edge side of that right foot, pushing the knee away from the body slightly. This pose is done easier if your elbows are stacked over your shoulders, so you can really kind of allow the bones to take over a little bit here instead of having so much muscular action. If you can, though, and as time allows, maybe you come down a little bit more. So just take your time, feel where your body's at today, and go to that limit of your own today. I'm not going to stay too long in this one because it is quite intense. So we'll take and use the weight of our arms to pull ourselves up, push the hips back, bring the knee in. We're going to take a counter pose for this. So you're going to extend that leg out directly in front of you. Come and sit back onto the leg. If you need to, bring a block and sit on the block. Whatever level that looks like for you is perfectly fine. Pull the toes back towards the face. Inhale, find length in the spine, and exhale, hinging forward. So we're keeping that back nice and straight again. Maybe that means that this looks like this to you. If this knee hurts at all, feel free to bend it. You can roll your blanket underneath and create a little cushion there. And try not, whatever you do, try not to lock this knee out. So we're going to find rolling those shoulders back and down again. Finding that length, whatever that looks like for you today. And we're going to come into whatever your forward fold looks like in this pose. This is half hero pose. And we're going to try and keep the shoulders square. Chest is coming down, but we're going to keep our shoulders back. We can tuck our chin when we reach our limit and try to relax into the pose. Back up gently out of this pose. Bring the leg in, remove any props. And we're going to do that same thing on the second side. So take your block, maybe you used it for your forehead, and we're going to come into the tabletop position. And then you're going to bring the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Ooh. hip of mine has always been a little bit stiff. I was thrown from a horse when I was 15, and it's kind of never been the same since. So, nevertheless, let's come on into lizard here on the left side. So pull that leg back, come down onto blocks or onto your forearms, turn onto the knife edge of that foot, and try to relax into it. Maybe use your block if you're not using it for your arms, for your forehead. Only here for about 20 more seconds. It's quite the intense pose. Gently use that strength of the upper arms. Come on up. Oh, moving really slowly. Beautiful. Nice and slow, nice and slow. Great. Grab a hold of that block. Put it underneath of your hip, your bum if you needed it. Oh, on the other side, you probably need it on this side too. Oh, heaven's sake. Come on. I'm so sorry for constantly doing this. I will promise it'll be better next time. Okay. So we're going to put our bum on there. Other leg is bent behind us on the other side. This is the way I looked on the other side. Let me show you the other side. I'll still do the same leg, but I'll just do it on this side so you can see what this side looks like. So I'm bending this leg, and I'm putting my bum down on the block. And then I'll put my leg out. So kind of looks like I'm not sitting on anything, but I am. I'm on the block there. All right. So again, if you needed maybe a little bit of a blanket, protect the hamstrings, the back of the knee, go ahead and put that underneath of that leg there. We're going to find an inhale, find length in the spine, and exhale, hinge forward over this front leg. Try to keep the shoulders square. Don't lock out that knee of the extended leg. Tuck the chin if it feels good for you. And relax. gently and slowly come up out of that pose. Take and put the blanket aside. Put the block aside. We're going to do what's called Gomukhasana, or cow face pose. It's a hip closer, which is going to be a really good counter posture for our hip openers that we just did. So, first we start in this position here. I'm going to just take and pull my hair to the front because I'm going to show you what we're doing in the back. You're going to have a hold of your strap. If you've got extremely flexible shoulders, awesome. You may not need the strap. Some of us need the strap, and that's okay. So first I'm going to show you what we do with the arms, and then I'll show you what we do with the legs. So I'm going to turn my back to you. So I've got my strap here, and I'm going to take the short end into the arm that is going to be on top. So I take the short end and I hold it on top. I then bend my elbow so it's in the middle of my back, palm facing down. I'll then reach around behind my back so that the fingertips are down. The thumb is going to be facing up, palm outward. So both palms are outward, both thumbs are going towards each other. You're going to wiggle and pull until you can get in a comfortable spot for your arms. We want to make sure that this shoulder of the bottom arm is rolled back and down, not to the point of being uncomfortable, but we want it down, and we want to bring this arm in as much as possible, as close to behind our heads as possible. Perfect. So that's our arms. Then we come to a top kneeling position. This right foot's going to come out, and then it's going to come, so we're kind of cross-legged, but not quite, because we're coming down to sit on our bum, but we have our knees stacked on each other as much as possible. Beautiful. You may need to sit on a block for this, and that's okay. Do what feels right for you and your body. Oh, that shoulder. My left shoulder is not liking being up that high, so that's okay. I'm going to come down. You be wherever it feels good for you, and try to keep yourself up straight. Push the head against the arm. We're going to hold this pose for 3 minutes on each side. They say to hold this pose for a minimum of 3 minutes, and it will help bring happiness into your life and help you find joy. So I hope that does that for you today. very gently release the bottom arm and the top arm. Remember, we are moving as if we're stuck in a vat of molasses. We could only come out of the posture in super slow motion. Ooh, left shoulder of mine. All right, that's a work injury from when I was a pastry chef. My left side, I have to go to a past life specialist and see why I'm getting those injuries on my left side. Oh, okay, we're gonna move that to the second side. So this time, our left arm, if you did what I did, is going to be the top arm. So you're going to raise that arm up overhead. Beautiful, perfect timing. Okay, up and down, reach around. Beautiful. And then come up onto the knees and bring that knee out in front. And then heel toe until you can get down onto the floor. Beautiful. In 3 minutes. You may have to let go of the strap to get your legs into the position that you want. Ooh. And then just gently get yourself back into the pose. Head up. Sometimes we want to put it down because this pose can be challenging. It's funny, I just realized that this video is mirrored. I'm going to see if I can flip it. So, because I don't typically cue in a mirrored way. I cue what I'm doing with my body, and then you do the same with your body. I have been working on cueing mirrored, but it's a real mind trick. Got about 30 seconds left. Very gently release the bind with the arms. Release the legs. and just come on into Shavasana. The very last pose for today's class. Stretch out the arms and the legs. If it feels like you need it for your neck, you can use a block as a pillow. You can stretch out with your little blanket and get comfy. And allow yourself the ultimate surrender of Shavasana. Bring awareness into your body. Wiggle your fingertips and your toes. Maybe raise your arms overhead. Take a full body stretch. Roll over onto one side and come into the fetal position for just a moment. Place your hand in front of your face and use the strength of that upper arm to push yourself up into a seated position. I hope that today's practice was enjoyable and maybe exactly what you needed. And I know that it was exactly what I needed today. So it was hard. They say that the yoga you find the most difficult is probably the yoga that you need. And today, sitting in those moments of silence, dealing with the discomfort, was what I needed. We'll close today's practice the same way we opened it, with an Om. If you'd like to join me, hands will come to Heart Center in Anjali Mudra or Prayer Mudra. Take a full inhale, allow the belly to expand. Exhale completely, belly button to spine. Inhale fully, preparing to chant. Bow your head to your hands. and gently blink open your eyes. Namaste. I hope you all have a blessed rest of